The 20th annual Hot Rods and Harleys event was an absolute blast, and it just also happens to be on the anniversary of the date that I acquired Wilson 2 years ago. Come join me as we listen to some of the VW bus stories that people shared with me on that day. Welcome back to Wilson the VW Bus. I'm your host, Joe. If this is your first listen, well, Wilson is my pearl white 1967 VW camper bus, and he's named after the dealership that's still tagged on his rear hatch. That's where he gets the name Wilson. And we've been sharing stories of our experiences over the past 2 years regarding Wilson's resurrection and a few adventures that we have had along the way. It's now May 13th of 2023, exactly 2 years to the date that I acquired Wilson. Wilson has come a long way in these past 2 years from that old crusty Rustmobile. It's funny to think that 2 years ago, nobody would dare go inside Wilson without fear of needing stitches or a tetanus shot, and now I can barely keep complete strangers from climbing inside him every time I open those cargo doors. Our anniversary date this year also happens to coincide with the 20th annual Hot Rods and Harleys event in downtown Rahway, New Jersey. I'm pretty sure I've attended almost every one of these events in the past 20 years, as it is one of my favorite car and bike shows. The entire downtown of the city of Rahway is closed off for over 600 cars, motorcycles, and 10,000 people to gather for a good time with food vendors, street vendors, local businesses, and of course the taverns and restaurants of downtown Rahway that are all open to serve food and drink. There are also 2 beer gardens this year as well, and it's fun for the whole family. You check out their website at hrandh.com. I headed out early to the show this morning, and say a bit before 9 o'clock, and I got settled into a nice spot in the middle of Main Street, surrounded by some cool muscle cars and hot rods, imports, trucks, and some vintage lead sleds. Plus, I can't even count how many bikes that were there. I threw on my wacky new top hat and planned to go out for a walk around to see all the other cars, but I didn't get too far this year as I was kept busy with a massive amount of interest in Wilson. My son Zach and his wife Kelly stopped by and kept me company for a bit, and I also ran into a few old friends who I hadn't seen in a while. But there were just so many people coming back to check out Wilson, and you know that I love to talk to them all. I missed a few opportunities to record the first few for the podcast, but I was able to get some stories in this time. It seemed as the day grew longer, more people had time to visit those wonderful beer gardens at the event, and boy, did those bus stories start to flow. One of the first was this cool old biker and his hitchhiking story.
Yeah, I was going up north there to the Pocono Mountains, and I was hitchhiking, and they pulled over, picked me up, and they were some real hippies. The bands around their heads, the dresses and all. So I get up and I get into the VW, and next thing you know, boy, what hairy legs I saw. It's the first thing I saw was her hairy legs. And then I get up there, and she had hair underneath her arms. It was like, holy. But they were some big, cool people, man. They took me where I needed to go and everything. Awesome. Peace, love, all that they were doing. But I had to get out of there because they didn't take a bath neither.
What year was that?
Oh, my word. I'd say that was back in 1985. Yeah, 1985. I was hitchhiking up to the Pocono Mountains. As a matter of fact, I got pulled over by the cops. He gives me a ride to the next booth, and he says, listen, I'm going to drop you off, get a pen and a paper. He said, put the destination where you're going, that's legal. I said, what? He said, yeah, you put your thumb out, that's illegal. You have a piece of paper saying where you're going, that's legal.
Nice hitchhiking tip.
Yeah.
I also made friends with Amadeo, who was very nostalgic about his bus story with his uncle when he was a young boy in Mexico. He sat inside Wilson and told me his story, and we even had a couple other guests show up and try to crash his interview, but he stuck it out like a champ, and he even came back later on and hung out for a while. What's your name?
Amadeus.
And tell me your story about the VW.
Well, the story is about, I went to work to Huajuapan. It's a city from Oaxaca, Mexico, from Mexico. We went on a tour, and we went to Puerto Escondido. So once we went to Puerto Escondido, the fuel pump failed. So my uncle didn't want to fix it. So what we did, we just like jumping, we just put hoses from the tank through the fuel filter of a Caribbean. And the Caribbean has the fuel filter that has it's like an angle, and then you can push them.
Like a hand pump.
Like a hand pump.
Yeah.
So I was getting fuel from the tank to the carburetor. I remember at one point I was falling asleep, and my uncle says, "Please, pump it harder." I was like, "I can't do it no more. And he was like, "You sleeping?" "Yes, I am sleeping." So I was pumping harder and harder and harder. But at the end of the story, we actually complete the whole trip. We went to Huatulco, which is a very nice, one of the beautiful and pretty beaches in Mexico.
Nice.
The coast of the Pacific coast. Very good. So we went over there, we completed our trip, and then we came back with the same situation.
These girls want a picture with you.
Me pumping the gas fuel so I can get more. I'm sorry, we're recording.
Hello,
So we came back from we went to Matiz Romero. We went to all these coasts, and we completed our trip, and we came back to where we belong, to our house. But it was a very good, nice story. So this is why. This one right here, it reminds me a lot of story. It actually moved me a little bit because it was, at the beginning it was really hard, but at the end I think it was really cool. It was story to tell. And right now I remember when I came back, I still have something in the middle of my hand. I was like, why is it so hard? And then I remind myself, I was like, yeah, you were pumping the gas.
You had a camera.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you for your story, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for your time. And
Now, Sheridan and his son had some good memories of his father's family bus.
Dad had one. We used to go everywhere in it. Comfortable ride. You know, he had like yours, bed in it. Everything was foldable. Had a little TV in it.
Nice.
It was a great time. It was a family vehicle.
You remember what year it was?
It had to be in the early 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, early 70s.
So bay window, had a big bay window in the front.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. But
Nice.
love it. You still have it in great shape, I see. You've done some alterations recently to it, or still?
Yeah, a little bit, a little interior, a little woodwork, you know.
These are classic.
Yeah.
They don't make them like this anymore.
No, they do not, sir.
You know, it's crazy to see some of the stuff that we used to enjoy, and it's really not that big when you really think about it. We all used to fit in here. It's crazy. It was 6 of us.
Yeah.
And we all used to fit in here.
And it had the 3 rows of the bench in the front,
Yes.
and then the bench in the middle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
3, 6, 9, or I guess 3, 2, and 3,
Yes.
maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like I said, it was altered. So I don't know the original makeup of it, but I know that it was altered. We had the carpet in here and everything. Well, you know, the 70s.
Yeah,
that's
of
what
course.
they believed in. But it's great. It's great seeing this. It brings back a lot of memories.
Nice.
A lot of memories.
Cool.
It's great talking to you.
Thank you very much, Sheridan.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Javon.
Pakaloo was a colorful character, and she had a secret beach bus story to share. What's your name?
Pakaloo.
Pakaloo, tell me about that VW story.
Well, we were on a secret beach down in Kauai a couple of years ago. It's very secluded. You have to walk down a hill to get there, and there were these people that must have been there since the 60s, living off the land. Guys with really, really long hair, looked like they came from Woodstock, and, you know, kids running around naked and everything, and they had an old VW bus, or is this a van?
Yeah.
Exactly like this. Exactly like this. We were like, wow, how long have those people been here? True story.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were more fascinated with the van than we were with the people that were living there, you know?
Nice.
It was crazy.
Nice.
But this is great.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you for
enjoying
sharing your story with
No,
me.
you're welcome.
But one of my favorite bus stories of that day was from Frank and Debbie. And although Debbie was a bit shy to speak about her side of the event, Frank shared the story about their very first kiss.
Okay, we had our first kiss in the VW bus about 50 years ago. It was in her parents' driveway, no motor in it. We kissed. I asked her out on a date. She stood me up the day of the date. We were going, I think, to see Chuck Berry or something in some park in Queens. And
how bad do you feel about standing them up all these years later? How many years was that?
How many years? She's a little shy. 50.
50 years ago.
50 years. We were 16, so I'm 62, so it's almost 50. And then we hadn't seen each other in about 40 years. And I got some Facebook requests, and here it is.
Very nice.
So, love you, boss.
Thank you. Thanks for your story.
Thank you.
I met so many cool people at the Hot Rods and Harleys show. Towards the end of the day, a nice couple of young ladies stopped by, and they fell in love with Wilson. When we got talking about their mutual enjoyment of camping and my upcoming Dubs in the Shrubs event this month in Hamilton, they told me that they also camp in Hamilton and how awesome it is to camp down there. We took a great photo of them from Wilson's front seats, and they shared that on their Instagram. Now, I can't wait to head out to the Dubs and Shrubs camp out next week. I hope to have more stories to share with you then.